What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to make ourselves a recipe that's great for game days, tailgating, hosting an event, or just any day, to be honest, if you just want a good snack. Today we're going to make ourselves a Doritos casserole. Let's get started. All right, you guys, so you can see I'm cooking indoors today. I got that cast iron going, and we're going to kind of brown the beef in, some things we're going to use in this Doritos casserole before we then put everything in a pan, take it out, and let it finish out on the smoker today. So first of all, I've got this warming up. We got to put ourselves a little bit of oil. You could go vegetable oil. I'm going to always go with that little bit of extra virgin olive oil that we're going to throw in here at the bottom. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be cooking down, just for a few moments here, some yellow onion, some garlic, as well as a little bit of jalapeno. Now the jalapeno is optional. Depends how much heat you want in this for yourselves. But I'll go ahead and put in that, get that yellow onion going in here. Get that little bit of garlic, about a clove or so garlic. And I grabbed myself one jalapeno, cored it out, and diced it up as well. So we're gonna put all of that here in that cast iron. And we're gonna let this kind of cook down for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then we're going to bring in that ground beef and brown that ground beef with these veggies. Okay, so we just want those veggies to soften just a little bit. We're not trying to completely brown them or anything. So I've got myself a pound of ground beef. I'm going 90-10 today, a little leaner. I'm going to kind of break that up with my wooden spoon since I'm using that cast iron skillet today as well. The reason I'm going a little bit leaner, I just don't want all that fat in there since I've already got these veggies and things in here, and I'm not going to be draining out this meat today. So what we're going to do is let's take a few minutes, let's get this browned, and then we'll add some more ingredients. All right, that ground beef is almost fully browned, so now we're going to throw in some taco seasoning, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of blend that together as well. Let it continue to cook here for about another minute, maybe 90 seconds. And then we'll throw in the rest of our ingredients. Okay, we can see that beef is pretty much browned. So that seasoning that we put in there from the taco seasoning has really kind of made itself through and blended really well together as well. So let's start adding some more ingredients. So next, we're going to add 2 cans that I've drained out of Rotel, but I'm using the fire roasted Rotel today. Just kind of give it a whole different flavor, different taste here. And if you can't find fire roasted Rotel, instead of using 2 cans of these, you could get like a little bit of a larger can, about a 15-ounce can of just fire roasted diced tomatoes, and a little 4-ounce can of that diced up peppers that you could, like hatch chili peppers or just any type of like diced peppers you want to throw in there. All right, there we go. So we got those 2 cans in there that we drained. And then now I'm going to add a can of cream of jalapeno soup. Now, if you can't find this at home, you could easily just go with a can of cream of chicken soup as well. We're going to take that wooden spoon again. We're going to slowly mix our ingredients. Turn the heat down just a little bit because I'm not trying to bring it to a boil or anything, but I do want to blend everything nicely together before we get things topped off and ready to go to the smoker. What I'm doing here is just kind of bringing that heat down a little bit and let some of that liquid in there kind of cook out as well. So this will take just a couple of minutes, and then we're almost ready, my friends, to top it off and get it in the smoker. Okay, you can see things are starting to thicken up just a little bit. It will continue to thicken up once it's on that smoker as well. I'm going to take it outside here in a moment to that Oklahoma Joe's Bronco Pro. Have that heat between 275 and 300, so bring that heat up just a little bit and let it sit on that smoker for about 30 minutes. All right, so what I'm going to do here is kind of make sure my ingredients are kind of evenly spread out, flattened out here as well, so I don't have an uneven cook on that smoker. I'm going to turn off my induction oven that we're using today. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take some freshly shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Now, I remember at the very beginning of this video, I told you I was going to move things over to a pan to put on that smoker. Well, time to pivot, because I actually love to just cook right in the cast iron. Why dirty up something else I don't need to, and a waste of money there? So we'll just do this as well. Now, by using a pan though, if you make those ingredients, you could like do a layer if you want to. It come with like a layered dip. We're not going to do that today. All right, so we got all that cheddar in here. This is probably about a cup and a half probably of shredded cheddar that I did from a fresh block of sharp cheddar cheese. Remember, Shred it yourself. Don't use that bag stuff, all right? All right, and then we're gonna hit it with one more thing. It's time to get those Doritos out. This one might get a little messy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start taking some of those Doritos in our hands. We're gonna start to just crunch them and crumble them on top of this dip, and we'll continue to do this until we have a good layer on top. All right. You could also throw these in like a food processor or something, or like a plastic bag and break them up. But you know what? Why do that? Once again, we can just do it nice and quickly with your hands and get those Doritos fingers, all right, without even eating any of them. All right, let's make sure we get a nice even layer here across the top. All right, my friends, look at those fingers. Whoo, yeah, might have to lick that off in a minute. All right, there we go. So let's take this outside and get it on the smoker. All right, my friends, we got outside here. It's a super windy day. We're gonna get that on the smoker, get it closed up nice and quick. Come back and check on it here in about 20 minutes. All right, friends, it's been on here about 35 minutes or so. It's time to take it off, take it inside, add some toppings, and give it a taste test. All right, friends, we brought it back in the house. Got it here in the man cave, got some football games going on in the background, so it's a perfect time to enjoy this dip today. Let it cool off for here a moment. Well, while it's cooled off, we'll go ahead and top it off as well. So first, I always like a little sour cream on dips like this or casseroles like this. So we're gonna put a little bit of sour cream on here. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and work it around. Not the prettiest thing ever. All right. And then I got some fresh chopped cilantro. Not only does it look good, tastes good as well. All right, you could add a little more jalapeno stuff to this as well. I don't think we're going to need to, since we put some of the jalapeno in there in the front end when we did those green onions. I'm sorry, when we did those onions, yellow onions, and when we did that garlic. Plus, there's also those peppers that are in the Rotel as well. So I think we've got more than enough on the pepper end. I could be wrong, but we're going to give it a taste test here in just a moment. Okay, friends, it's time for a taste test. But before we do that, can we take a moment here to pause? Prices are at hand. Suggested retail price of this bag of Doritos, $7.29. $7.29. No, I didn't pay that much. They were on sale. This is ridiculous. Chips, and I'll tell you what, my other gripe right now is $20 smash burgers. I mean, I love a good burger, but the price of a burger these days is outrageous as well. So anyway, that's a tangent we can go on later. Let's give these a taste test. So since it's a casserole, we're not using it more, we're not really going to be dipping into it. Really just let some people put it on a plate. Now, if they want to dip into it with more Doritos, they could, but I'm actually going to take a little bit out of here. Get it on my plate here. And I can eat as well. The longer it cools, the better as well. You can still see the steam coming off of it. All right. Leave that spoon in there as well. So depending on the mixture, you may want to go with a spoon or a fork. But let's go ahead and give this a taste test, my friends. You can definitely see all that Rotel, those fire roasted tomatoes in there. I can smell the seasonings and the smoke. I'm glad we did that as another little layer today. Here we go. Wow, this has a lot of depth to it because we had those jalapenos in there with those yellow onions on the front end, blended in, and I like the touch of this fire roasted Rotel instead of just a regular Rotel. That was really good. I'm glad I added some extra jalapenos and that taco seasoning. Fresh cheddar always works better than the bag stuff, my friends. I always like topping off with that sour cream as well. And those Doritos, they're not soggy, they didn't overcook, they're still crispy. So this is absolutely delicious. A good little thing to snack on. Maybe have some other appetizers going as well for a game day. But we'll put everything you guys need to know about this recipe down in the description. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll see you guys again on Bones and Brews.